Hello, and welcome back to another marvelous anime video. Today, we'll be exploring the rise and fall of Gothic Shojo manga. This genre gave us haunting romances and dark stories that stood out from the crowd. We'll take a look at how it grew in the 70s and the 1990s, then examine its peak before its sharp decline in the late 2000s. Gothic Shojo offered a unique escape, showed beauty in darkness, and explored taboo topics few dared to touch. Complex female characters made it special. Its influence lives on even though Gothic Shojo has faded from the mainstream. The spirit remains strong in fan communities and modern stories, so join us as we answer the question, what really happened to Gothic Shojo? The golden age of Shojo, the birth of dark romance. 1970s to 1990s. Shojo manga in the 70s looked nothing like what came before. The stories used to be simple. Girls found love, faced heartbreak, and cried until the good ending showed up. Then you got the year 24. These creators broke the old rules, went deeper, built bigger worlds. The manga was a way to see yourself. Most shoujo manga artists by that point were women. Fans shaped what got published. Magazines ran contests. The girls entered and won. Nearly all the artists who stuck around for decades started in those contests. Machiko Satonaka was just 16 with her first win, but her art would change the look of shoujo itself. Lighter and sharper lines, dreamy faces with wild overlapping panels, that style still shapes manga today. The Year 24 group brought psychological storytelling with Oto Hagio's groups showed you how people's insides work. Keiko Takamiya created Sunroom Night, the start of shonen AI manga about boys' love written for a mostly female audience. These stories didn't care about standard happy endings. Creators asked harder questions. What does loving someone mean? What are you willing to lose for? Where does the pain come from? These stories trusted you to find your own answers. Ryoko Ikeda's The Rose of Versailles was a hit. It mixed history and romance. You met Oscar, a female officer in the French Royal Guard. Her story challenged what a heroine could be. Ikeda's cast blurred the lines between male and female, tough and gentle. Manga played with androgynous beauty, what fans now call bi-shonen. The idea was new back then. Now you see it everywhere. Once the critics saw what these books were doing, shoujo manga exploded. The golden age began. Boys started reading too. The best stories appealed to anyone who loved good characters and great drama. Old rules faded out and new ones came in. Manga artists like Hideko Mizuno shaped the rise of romantic comedy. Some, like Kazuo Umezo, took shoujo in a darker direction. He made horror for girls that broke the old conventions and opened the door to gothic vibes. Umezo's work, along with that of the artists inspired by him, let shoujo play with fear and forbidden subjects. By the late 60s, explicit scenes started showing up. Friendship, family, school, and love mixed freely. Shoujo manga stopped being safe. Victorian-inspired settings hit hard in the 70s and 80s. Gothic touches showed up in the art. Frilly clothes, candlelit shadows, sprawling old mansions. Those stories were tragic, romantic, and filled with mystery. You can still see the same atmosphere in modern haunted romances. 80s and 90s, shoujo manga kept growing. Foreign settings became less common. Writers started using Japanese places and faces. Stories became more local but dealt with bigger themes, fighting for what you believe in, protecting your community, and finding yourself. Shoujo manga was a way to explore identity, justice, and destiny. That era drew from world events. Some critics saw the Gulf War's shadow in how strong fighting heroines appeared in Magic Knight Rayearth and Basso. Shoujo's cast of women became action heroes. Relationships between women took center stage over the typical girl meets boy plot. Manga focused on emotional bonds and shared strength, and publishers noticed what older readers wanted. 80s comics, or josei manga, jumped into the picture in the 1980s. The focus moved to adult women. Sex showed up more openly, and these magazines blurred the line between classic shoujo and stories for grown-ups. Shoujo also branched into horror and soft erotic. Firms such as Hibari Shobo and Rippu Shobo published horror shoujo manga that stretched limits. Graphic content caused pushback and even legal fights. By the late 80s, larger magazines took over. Horror got its own platform. Monthly Halloween became the place for dark stories. In the 90s, you saw Teens Love, which were softcore romance mangas for teenage and young adult girls. By the 2000s, the subgenre had moved online. Shoujo manga changed what manga could be for everyone, a space to face secrets, chase dreams, and your own feelings. The golden age brought dark romance, gothic style, and emotional richness. Fans were lost in pages, occasionally haunted, occasionally hopeful, yet always real. Gothic Shojo Titans, the iconic series that defined the genre, 1990s to 2000s. The iconic Gothic Shojo series of the 90s and 2000s are Earl Cain/Godchild, Vampire Knight, Black Rose, Alice. These series set the standard for the subgenre. They combined Victorian visuals with the supernatural and complex family drama. Romances were often tragic. Earl Cain was set in Victorian London. Cain C. Hargreaves Eve solves murders tied to a secret group called Delilah. The story delves into suicide and resurrection. Noriyuki, theater, based it on the dark side of Victorian elites. She used Edgar Allan Poe's works as inspiration, also traveled to London for research. The story mixes gothic horror with mystery and tragedy. Art uses sharp costumes and detailed creepy settings. Vampire Knight ran from 2004 to 2013. At Cross Academy, humans attend the day class while vampires attend the night class. Yuki Cross protects the humans and hides the vampire's existence. She struggles with love for two complicated men. Zero Kiryu haunts vampires but has deep pain. Haname Kuran is a pure vampire and also Yuki's cousin. It's a typical gothic romance with secrets and forbidden love. Its love triangle is famous for being toxic yet gripping. Black Rose Alice is set in Edwardian Vienna. Mitri, a vampire singer, is killed but lives on. A Japanese teacher's soul moves into the body of a girl linked to Dimitri. You must pick a vampire mate to carry on the vampire bloodline. The series mixes themes of death, sacrifice, and romance. Art features elegant, detailed period clothing and rich, somber environments. Other Gothic Shojo titles like Diabolic Lovers and Vampire Princess Miyu add to the genre's depth. Diabolic Lovers centers on Yui Komori. She's a girl living with the cruel yet attractive Sakamaki vampire brothers. Brothers fight over her, but neither is kind. They feed on her blood without consent and often verbally abuse her. The story is gothic through and through. The setting includes a decaying mansion with painful family histories. It also has creepy supernatural elements. The characters' dark pasts shape their twisted relationships. This anime leans heavily on gothic romance cliches but with a very toxic twist. Then there's Vampire Princess Miyu. This series takes a different approach. It mixes gothic romance with a dark magical girl vibe. Miyu is a guardian tasked with hunting evil Shinma. Her story is melancholic and moody. She longs for darkness herself. Her bodyguard, Larva, turns from enemy to lover. The cost of their love is too high. The atmosphere and the tone are spooky and gothic as one would expect a Gothic Shojo classic to be. All these series share common gothic elements. They often take place in crumbling mansions. The family backgrounds are sordid and full of secrets. Supernatural beings create creepy and sometimes dangerous relationships. These shows prove that Gothic Shojo romance is about tension, darkness, and atmosphere as much as love. They remain engaging because they explore how love can be complicated, dangerous, and haunting. The Gothic Lolita fashion movement and cross-cultural influence. Gothic Lolita fashion began to grow in Japan in the 1990s. It began in places like the Harajuku district in Tokyo. The look draws heavily from Victorian and Rococo styles. You see layered dresses and petticoats. Lace plays a big role along with accessories such as headbands and parasols. What makes this style Gothic is the dark colors used. Religious symbols and dramatic makeup add to the mood. The look combines a grown-up, old-world style with youthful and cute elements. The fashion movement grew as a way for young people to express themselves. Japan had a rigid society in terms of gender and conduct. Childhood-inspired clothes were a rebellious thing to wear. It allowed young women, especially, to leave their anticipated roles. The style created a sort of fantasy identity where innocence and elegance meet an air of mystery and darkness. Anime and manga helped spread Gothic Lolita fashion beyond Japan's streets. Gothic Lolita characters appeared in series like Rosen Maid. This provided fans with visual examples to follow. Elaborate costumes are appropriate to the darker themes of Gothic Shojo. Many fans began adopting these looks in real life. Style also helped characters stand out on screen. Its rich details are above ordinary fashion. It suits fantasy novels set in alternate worlds or times. The Gothic Lolita characters appear to have remained in mysterious, beautiful, and dark locations. Gothic Lolita fashion really took off during the mid-2000s. Lots of anime from 2007 to 2010 included frills, lace, and dark dresses. This made it a trend not just for TV, but the streets of Japan as well. It became a symbol of going against the norm, demonstrated a preference for theatrical and elegant appearances. The style is exhibited by major characters. Victorique from Gossick wears classic Victorian Gothic Lolita dresses and delicate headbands. Perona from One Piece mixes bright colors with frills and playful hair. Both capture the Gothic charm perfect, look elegant, but also carry a hint of danger. The Gothic Lolita style continues to impact new anime even today. It's still a symbol of fantasy and mystery. It conforms to the Gothic Shojo dark romance and haunting themes. The style makes anime characters more memorable. The market collapsed. collapse. Why Gothic Shojo faded late 2000s to 2010s. The Gothic Shojo market saw a serious collapse in the late 2000s and 2010s. Shojo manga in general faced rough times. The 2008 financial crisis hit manga publishing hard worldwide. Before the crisis, publishers flooded the market with many poorly edited, cheap titles to attract buyers. These weren't all of good quality. When the recession struck, many young readers lost disposable income. This hit shoujo sales because its main audience was teenage girls. Adult buyers of boys love manga didn't always pick up teen-focused shoujo manga, causing a gap in the market. Major publishers tried to change how they work, closed down several long-running shoujo magazines. New magazines launched around this time mostly failed to catch on. Even established names struggled. The market slowed down overall. At the same time, female readers shifted their interests. Many preferred television dramas or Korean manhwa to classic shoujo manga. Others leaned towards shonen manga, which often got more anime adaptations and hype. Cross-media marketing grew, where manga was tied to TV, games, and music. This didn't fully save shoujo. The genre as a whole became even more niche. Gothic shoujo specifically suffered as a small niche inside a declining market. The dark, dramatic style appeals to fewer readers today. Publishers see shonen manga as a safer bet. Shoujo manga magazines like Hana to Yume and Nakayoshi have much smaller circulations compared to decades ago. In English markets, the crash just about wiped out shoujo manga. Publishers like Tokyopop shut down. 2009, Viz Media suspended its magazine Shoujo B. Shoujo manga lost its visibility as it was less promoted and released. Despite this, some shoujo titles continue to sell well. New releases may not get anime adaptations as often as shonen. Female readers still exist, however, their attention is scattered across many media forms. The male-dominated anime business often overlooks shoujo needs. Many popular shoujo or josei manga got adapted to live-action TV instead of anime. This further reduces anime exposure for shoujo. Historically, shoujo manga created the foundation for modern manga storytelling. Works by the Year 24 group, like The Rose of Versailles, pioneered sophisticated themes and character designs. Shoujo manga was an early movement that highlighted issues like gender, sexuality, and feminism. The genre has growth potential, although the number of new shoujo anime is now lower. It's particularly close to the stories about the lives of young women and their feelings. The emergence of additional shonen rom-coms would enable some of the fans who miss the shoujo ambiance to fill certain gaps. In essence, Gothic shoujo died out because of economic downturn, market saturation, changing female preferences, and industry abandonment. Magazines were folded and publishers concentrated on safer genres. Gothic shoujo is a niche, but it left its mark on the history of manga, continued to appeal to hardcore fans. The lasting legacy and modern echoes. Gothic shoujo has left a strong mark on modern anime and manga, influenced a new generation of dark fantasy series. Shows like The Apothecary Diaries, My Happy Marriage, Shadow's House reflect the Gothic shoujo style. They show darker themes and complex characters, but in fresh ways. Apothecary Diaries is classified as seinen, however, it is very popular among shoujo fans. It follows Mao Mao, a servant with skills in medicine. She navigates an imperial palace full of secrets and danger. The setting is historical and elegantly dark. Mystery and romance harken back to Gothic shoujo moods. My Happy Marriage tells the story of Mio. She's from a family known for psychic powers. The story is set in a supernatural version of Japan's Taisho era. Mio faces harsh family rejection and abuse. She meets love that helps heal her past, and this contrasts pain with hope in a way classic Gothic shoujo would. Shadow's House has a mysterious mansion setting. Residents have shadowy faces and hidden secrets. The dark fantasy story carries Gothic horror elements. Art style uses shadows and eerie lighting. This matches Gothic shoujo's spooky atmosphere. Today, Gothic aesthetics appear mostly in josei and seinen manga. These genres address adult audiences. Stories often explore mature themes, keep the Gothic style alive with complex emotions and supernatural elements. There is a growing buzz about a shoujo renaissance in anime and manga. Classic series like Sailor Moon and Fruits Basket have gotten remakes. These reawakenings remind readers how shoujo storytelling can be. They restore the rich characters and more detailed plots. New Gothic romances may be created that refresh old themes in the current age. Fruits Basket, in particular, is a remake that demonstrates how a classic could have a lot to say. A more recent version delves into shadowy family secrets and trauma. The fans enjoy the improved pacing and visuals. It demonstrates that shoujo still can be very powerful in terms of the stories beyond high school romance. Other shoujo classics like Skip Beat and Gakuen Alice are popular candidates for remakes. Their stories have layers that deserve full adaptations. Old animation and storytelling flaws could be enhanced with new versions. fans. Fans of Gothic Shojo hope similar care might go to dark romance shows. Meanwhile, Gothic Shojo's core fan community remains active online. The fans critique and hype their favorite manga and anime, exchange fan art and essays on the style and theme of Gothic Shojo. The Gothic spirit remains alive through these communities. New readers discover the emotional depth of Gothic Shojo every day. The influence of Gothic Shojo extends beyond its original demographic. The dark atmospheres and romance themes appear in josei and seinen manga. Gothic aesthetics continue evolving in those spaces. Shoujo Renaissance offers hope that Gothic romance might return to mainstream attention. Fans and creators alike want to see shoujo and Gothic stories thrive. Remakes are part of that revival, so too are fresh works inspired by Gothic Shoujo's legacy. The future looks promising for dark, emotional stories with a Gothic style. The Banana Fish and Godchild Paradox, when shoujo defied expectations. Banana Fish and Godchild show how shoujo challenged expectations. Banana Fish is known for its dark and violent story, features drugs, gangs, corruption, and sexual violence. The themes feel more like seinen or josei manga than typical shoujo, but first appeared in a shoujo magazine in 1985. This fact surprises many people. The shoujo market in the 1980s was adventurous and pushed boundaries. Stories like Banana Fish changed how people saw shoujo manga. It proved that the genre was capable of addressing darker, grown-up, and difficult themes. The presence of a relationship between the two male protagonists of Banana Fish is indirect. Emotional relationship between Ash and Iji transcends romance and common romance tropes. According to critics, the series has a tendency to cross over between shoujo, seinen, and BL, explores heavy issues while resisting cliches. This mix expanded what shoujo manga could be. Godchild by Kaori Yuki is another groundbreaking shoujo manga. It's set in a dark Victorian world. Narrative is about poison, death, and madness. The mature, twisted themes fit perfectly well in Gothic Shojo. Similar to Banana Fish, it went beyond easy classification by genre, demonstrated that shoujo could tell a sophisticated story. The debate around such series involves gender and marketing. Shoujo is a demographic category instead of a genre. It targets young female readers, but content can include violent or adult themes. Certain works, like Banana Fish, would be more acceptable to seinen or josei audiences. This demonstrates how demographics in manga publishing are permeable. Shoujo manga is also able to include dark and adult stories without leaving out the issues that young women find themselves in. The legacy of Banana Fish contributed to opening doors for shoujo stories about trauma, violence, and queer content. It challenged writers and readers to embrace more diverse and challenging stories. Both Godchild and Banana Fish continue to be significant representations of the shoujo manga that challenge traditional notions to narrate radical narratives. Conclusion: the velvet curtain falls, never fully closes. The Gothic Shojo rise began in the 1970s and lasted through to the 90s. This period is called the Golden Age. Female artists introduced deep stories. They broke old rules. Stories focused on the psychology of characters. Themes included taboo topics like gender and sexuality. Political and historical dramas appeared. Manga magazines flourished. The genre gained critical acclaim. The late 90s to mid-2000s were the peak. Gothic Shojo widened its fan base. Stories were darker with Gothic romance. Settings were haunted and opulent. The series pushed mature themes. Art style was rich and emotional. The decline set in during the late 2000s and 2010s. Financial troubles and changing media habits hit shoujo hard. Many magazines ended and more attention was paid to shonen manga. There were female readers who ventured into new genres such as manhwa. Gothic Shojo lost influence. Its appeal came from providing escape, and the aesthetic beauty was crucial. Dark themes asked hard questions rarely seen elsewhere. Female characters were often complex and layered. Readers found comfort and fascination in these stories. What was lost is a place for dark female narratives. Shoujo's absence in mainstream manga means fewer stories of this kind. It also means a loss of a unique emotional outlet. Still, there is hope. Gothic elements continue in josei and seinen manga even today. Classic Gothic Shoujo stories stay alive in fan communities. The culture is cyclic and it might come back. New productions can bring Gothic romance in new forms. The velvet curtain has fallen, but never fully closed. Gothic Shoujo's haunting stories and dark beauty endures. Will Gothic Shojo rise again? What classic or new Gothic Shojo series do you want to see come back? Let us know in the comments down below, and while you're down there, enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, stay curious, stay marvelous.